The shadow under Blackthorn Bridge. There was once a narrow bridge of black stone that crossed a sluggish river on the outskirts of a mountain village. Locals called it the Blackthorn Bridge, for a cluster of thorny trees grew thickly along the banks, their twisted branches clawing toward the water. Travelers avoided the bridge at night, for they said something moved in the shadows beneath it. Something that was not a man, though it wore the shape of one. Some swore they had seen a figure crouched among the thorns, rising only when footsteps crossed above. Others whispered that if you peered too closely into the river's reflection, you might see not your own face, but another's, staring back with eyes too dark, too hollow, to belong to the living. For years, such stories were dismissed as superstition. But one autumn, when the moon hung low and swollen, a young scholar named Liu Sheng came to the village. He was traveling to sit for the provincial examinations, carrying only a trunk of books and a restless ambition. Hearing the villagers' warnings, he smiled faintly. "If I fear shadows, how can I hope to master truth? I will cross your bridge tonight." The villagers begged him not to. An old woman even pressed a bundle of incense into his hand. "If you must go," she whispered, "light this and throw it into the water. Do not stop. Do not look down." That night, Liu Sheng set out beneath a pale moon. The air was crisp, the fields silvered with frost. When he reached the bridge, he paused only once, glancing at the dark river below. The surface gleamed like polished glass, perfectly still. For an instant, he thought he saw something shift beneath it, a blur that rippled though the water did not move. He told himself it was his imagination and stepped onto the bridge. His footsteps rang sharply against the stone. The night was utterly silent. No wind, no insects, not even the croak of frogs by the riverbank. Halfway across, the silence deepened, so heavy it seemed to press upon his chest. Then he heard it. Another step. It was faint, deliberate, echoing his own but not quite in rhythm. Liu Sheng froze, heart pounding. Slowly, against his better judgment, he lowered his eyes toward the water. There, in the reflection, he saw himself walking across the bridge. Yet his reflection's head was turned upward, staring directly into his eyes. Its lips curled into a smile that he did not wear. The scholar staggered back, breath catching. He remembered the incense clutched in his hand. With trembling fingers, he struck flint, lit the bundle, and hurled it over the side. Sparks hissed as it touched the water, smoke curling upward. For a moment, the reflection twisted, darkened, and vanished into ripples. He ran the rest of the way across, not daring to glance behind. At dawn, he told the villagers what had happened. Their faces grew grave. One elder finally explained, "Many years ago, a bandit lord was captured and executed on this bridge. His body was cut down and cast into the river, but his hatred clung to the stones. Since then, his shadow lurks beneath, seeking to drag down any who cross alone. Only fire and prayer can hold him back." Liu Sheng scoffed outwardly, though in his heart unease gnawed. Yet he continued his journey, and, in time, achieved the degree he sought. For a while, he tried to forget the Blackthorn Bridge. But fate does not easily release those it marks. Years later, as an official returning to his native province, Liu Sheng again found himself near the village. His entourage insisted on taking a longer road, but Liu, proud of his status and unwilling to show fear before his attendants, ordered the carriage across the Blackthorn Bridge. This time the moon was hidden behind clouds. The horses balked, stamping nervously at the bridge's threshold. Liu scolded them and pressed forward. Halfway across, The air grew heavy once more, thick with that same suffocating silence. The torches carried by his men sputtered, though no wind stirred. Then the horses reared, nearly overturning the carriage. From beneath the bridge rose a shape darker than night, stretching tall until it loomed above them all. Its form was manlike yet twisted, its eyes pits of black flame. It reached long arms upward, fingers curling toward the carriage. The attendants dropped their torches and fled in terror. Only Lou remained, frozen, as the shadow bent low until its face nearly brushed his own. In its hollow depths, he saw his own reflection again. Older now, but still bearing that same terrible smile. The incense. He had none. Desperation clawed through him. He seized a torch from the ground and thrust it toward the figure. Flames flared, and for an instant, the shadow recoiled, its outline breaking apart like smoke in wind. With a cry, Liu hurled the torch into the river below. Fire hissed and spread across the surface, a fleeting shield of light. The shadow shrieked without sound and sank once more beneath the bridge. Shaken, Liu crossed the remainder at a gallop. He never spoke of it again, though his hair turned silver within the year. The Blackthorn Bridge still stands, weathered and narrow, its stones dark with age. Few cross it after dusk. Travelers say that if you lean too close to the water, you may see not your own face, but another's, smiling faintly from below. And on moonless nights, when the world is silent, footsteps echo across the bridge, though no one is there to walk it.